Hello, hello, and welcome to the Fortitude Show. Today, I am extra blessed, and here's why. I am with my bestie, my best girlfriend, who is such an inspiration. She is an icon in the network marketing space, in the business space, in the faith leader space, but she's also my best friend. And she happens to also be a wife and a mother. And she is here on the show today. Sarah Robbins, welcome.
Hi, and your neighbor too now, which is so much fun.
We're like 8 minutes apart, maybe.
I know. We take walks, launch businesses, talk business, have so much fun together. I'm so blessed to be here.
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I can remember when I first started in network marketing and I was trying to find like who's the best teachers and, you know, you just want to learn the skills. I will never forget Sarah Rockin' Robbins. So you have always had this mindset. I feel like you have built a business in that space, but you had like a double mindset of building your brand.
Yeah.
You wrote a book.
Yep.
You had a blog before it was cool to be a blogger.
Yes.
And that's how I found Sarah Rockin' Robbins.
Yes.
And I would steal some of your content for my team.
And then we would speak at John Maxwell events together. And now it's over a decade of friendship.
Yeah. And then we like reconvene or we saw each other on a boat.
Yes.
And it was like, you're from Michigan, I'm from Minnesota.
Yes.
And we both moved to Southern California.
Yes.
And we were just meant to be.
Yes, it's true.
Oh my God.
The two blondes from the Midwest. So we still have that fun Midwest side of us too. We're the best.
We are the best.
Yes.
Yeah.
The best friends too.
Sarah, what made you know to do and build your brand?
You know what was so interesting was it was actually on accident, and most people don't know this story. I would go live once a week giving tips on a Facebook page, and our company had a rule before going live was a really acceptable thing. And they're like, we don't want you saying the company name. So I would go live every week, once a week, and I would call them my prospecting pop-ups, training in under 10 minutes. People from all over the world started sending these videos to their team. You have to see what this girl is training for free. I had no idea. I was in my young 20s. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't have a business coach, etc. And that page ended up building to over 300,000 people, over 500,000 collective followers on social media. And that is what led to truly building my personal brand. It was not on purpose. But I will say what was intentional was I would show up and give value. I would show up every week and say, how can I make his or her life easier or better today? And now I realize that that is the best strategy. The secret sauce is truly what can we give away to the people who follow us, even if initially it's for free.
Right. Yeah. And that's the way I approach social as well, where it's like a giver's mindset. And I think you can really tell when people are like, sell. And it's not, people don't gravitate towards that anymore. Yeah. But what happened was, so how long have you been in the space, in the network marketing?
18 years.
Okay. So you were a school teacher.
Yes.
And you know, how did you fall into network marketing again?
I was in my young 20s and I was facing the loss of my job. I was the most requested teacher in the building, but teacher tenure trumped performance. So your girl had to go look for extra income. I started freelancing for skincare and cosmetics companies. One of them happened to be my company, but at the time they were in retail. So I was the girl at the counter making $20 an hour and happened to be in the right place in God's time. When they said, we're leaving retail, going into network marketing, do you want to do this? And I will tell you, I really did not know what I was saying yes or no to, but my mom is just a serial entrepreneur. She's like, I know people who start in these businesses, sky's the limit, we're going to do this. I'm the firstborn, so I'm the compliant one. So I listened to my mom, and that is what caused me to say yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So what was that first year like?
It was interesting. I had a lot of ups and downs. I think about when we started, we didn't have a compensation plan or training or anything like that. So it was a lot of failing forward. It took me 3 months to recruit my first distributor into the business. And I used to be like, if there was a title of least highest earner, that was me. And I remember there being a shift where I was like, if I am going to be successful in this business, I have to be a student of it. And I started to take it seriously and actually treat it as a business. And that was just a really pivotal moment for me. Instead of being, because again, my mom's my upline, Chris's daughter, I was like, who is Sarah as a leader? And really leaning into that, even though I didn't have the title or credentials, but acting like a leader, showing up as a leader. That was the thing that changed everything for me.
Same.
Yeah.
Absolutely same.
Yes.
And it's like God will meet you at your level of expectation. And I feel like people get into stuff and they don't even expect to win.
Yep.
Like they don't arrive to being a leader, step up, because they literally don't have the mindset. It's like, oh, well, this is my leader, this, or they don't treat it like a business.
Yes.
So it'll pay them like a hobby and it'll end up costing them.
Yep. That's true. And it's like, whose name is on the paycheck at the end of the day? It's you.
Wow.
Yeah.
When did you first get your first paycheck or like big paycheck where you're like, oh, this is real?
I started building a team in Tennessee, and I really didn't understand how the business model worked. Originally, I would sell product, and it was great because I would surpass my teaching income in part-time hours. And I found a partner in business, and she was a powerhouse, very networked. And I remember watching my check go from $3,800 to over $11,000 a month, and I was brand new in the business. And I thought, this has to be fake. And I considered, do I tell somebody they made a mistake? Do I hide it under my mattress, not cash the check? Not quite sure.
Oh my God.
But I remember that. And I remember talking to Phil, my husband, and saying, I think that there is something about this business that I can actually take and run with. And we were on a walk, and here I was in a place where I was so afraid to lose my job. And I was talking about putting in my leave of absence. And what would that look like? You want to know a funny story? I don't think I've ever told you this. I put in my leave of absence and I just never went back.
Oh, really?
I never went back. I don't even think to this day. Sorry, I don't think I told anybody. Maybe you should do that now.
Yeah. They're like, Sarah Robbins is not coming back.
She peaced out.
She left us for California sunshine.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But now I say I still get to teach just in a different way. And that's the coolest part about really what we do is taking something that may seem more complex, right?
Yeah.
You and I have become masters at that, known for that in our industry where it's like sales, and we simplify it. We create systems. People unlock. You built, I built two of the most successful, iconic sales teams in the industry, and not by selling, but by developing systems.
Yeah. You're the systems queen.
Thank you.
And have you when you think of systems in your business, do you have systems at home and systems in your other business? Is that how your brain works?
For everything. Checklists, systems for everything. And simple. Very simple.
Do you think people not having systems is what creates overwhelm?
Overwhelm, which in a lot of just anxiety, it's what do I do? And therefore people just quit. They need just something simple, step by step. And I think systems are what help people to scale. And really, I think for us, that's what caused us to build really fast.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
You need somebody that's going to be able to follow it. They work a full-time job.
Yes.
Just like that. And if you don't have a system, it's they're going to be like, this is too hard.
Yeah.
I'm not, I'm out.
Yeah.
Not everyone is going to go read the product catalog and come to all the events. And so did you guys have a system in your company, or did you make up one?
We had none. We had no trainers. We had no training. We didn't even have a compensation plan. So we did not know how we were going to get paid. So I would go to industry events. I invested in coaching, now today in masterminds. And I was like, what do all of these people have in common? Different products, different pay plans. But if they were at the top of their company, I wanted to know. And I would go and I would ask the questions and build the relationships, and then took all of the things that I learned, put it together to develop these very simple systems I would later call the multiply method, and really now use these systems to help build businesses into billion-dollar brands. We did that in 5 short years, which is incredible. And again, we kept it so incredibly simple.
Yeah. And people want to complicate it.
Yeah.
Like I truly feel like that. It's like, that's what stops people.
Yeah. They complicate it, or sometimes even too, and I know we've talked about this, like real girl talk, like where it's like, they're not even telling the truth. Like, what did they really do to get there? And I'm like, the thing that I love about the business model of network marketing, it is the great equalizer.
Yeah.
Anybody, regardless of their background, their experience, they can be successful if they have simple systems. And of course, they're committed and they're willing to do whatever it takes.
Yeah. Yeah. So good. Oh my gosh. When did you start? Because you have like multiple businesses, and I'm so excited for your book to come out, the Multiply Method, and you've got coaching programs, and you serve so many people. I mean, you even have people that do completely different types of businesses that you consult for, you speak, all this. Like, when did that start to come, and what made you do that as well?
So for coaching, it was really interesting. I was doing those live videos, and it was just this huge community that built, and people kept coming to me saying, do you do coaching? And I was like, I don't have time for that, Yeah. And I thought of coaching more as like one-on-one. And so I really just kind of put that in the backdrop. And I remember just one day just hearing it enough, and I thought, man, I would love to serve people at the level that really they're looking for.
Yeah.
And so I remember saying to my husband, I'm going to launch this coaching group. We'll do it inside of a group, and I'll do it once a week. And I remember saying, I'm just going to put an announcement out. But if 5 people sign up and say they're doing it, I'm just going to say, just kidding, because I just don't have time, and I want to make sure that this is something I can not only solve the problem, but also too, like as a business, I can scale. And I remember the day I just put a little announcement out. We had 500 people who enrolled in our coaching program, the Network Marketing Inner Circle. And then leaders started coming, and they're like, so what do you have for leaders? So that's how our mastermind Made to Multiply was born. And from there, doing speaking like you, and consulting, and, really working with leaders and companies and helping them to grow. So it's been a natural progression, but I think it's so interesting. Like, we see somebody like you or like myself who's done it, and people just think all of that stuff just happens.
Right.
And I love that Biz Stone quote. It says, timing, perseverance, and 10 years of trying makes you look like an overnight success.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We master the skill, but then we have to be willing for a season to also show up and serve.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Gosh, there's so much to unpack here. I look at the profession and even the world right now, the economy, all of it, there's a lot of changes in business happening. And, something we're like best friends. We talk all the time. It's like, we always say to each other, thank God we built our personal brands.
Thank God.
And I always share with people. I'm like, I don't care what you do. I don't care if you love your job.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is the resume of 2024.
That's right.
Is your personal brand.
Yeah.
So if you've got nothing going on your personal brand front, it's like, God forbid something were to happen.
Yep.
Passions change.
Yes.
And I've told you this intimately, like, I'm just walking in my obedience right now.
Yes.
And sometimes I'm like, God, really? And he's like, yes, really. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And like, it's causing me to move forward and grow new things and stuff like that. But the personal brand thing.
Yeah.
And I see so many people talking about it, which is great. But you've actually like done it, lived it, and continue to do that. And how much do you think that's like helped you grow your network marketing business?
So much. All 15 of my top leaders are not people that I had to approach. These are people who came to me, and to this day, still 18 years later, remaining the #1 team builder in our company. And again, the majority of those leads come to me. Now, when we look at you and I always talk to people about, it's smart and again, any entrepreneur to be diversified. But here's the thing, we know in our industry to build multiple streams of income, we're not building multiple network marketing companies. You pick one, you stick with one, you build straight to the top.
Yeah.
So how do we build multiple streams of income? By developing a personal brand and creating additional ways to profit. The beauty is, I mean, that's so many open doors, but it's also open doors for our business as well. I know you were telling me the other day, it's like passive sales that just come from little posts because you have been for so long, the brand, the person, the Emily, that everybody who follows, number one, you're the place people check on purpose because it's not a sales pitch. But number two, the person that they know, like, and trust. It's like the sister that they're watching in stories. You sprinkle it in, they go, I want that too. It's absolutely essential. The brand is not the company. The brand is you.
I've done some recent calls with people in the industry and they have not built their personal brand. They've been showing up online, but it's like sell. They're a company girl. You know, it's like people only know them really for like the company that they're in. And I know you and I are like so passionate about educating people. Like, it's great to honor your company, but you need to build you, boo.
Yes. 1,000. 1,000.
What would you say to that person right now? That's like, you know,
you must build a brand that will go with you in case anything happened. Again, we don't live in fear, but it's wisdom to the company, to the economy, because it's a business. We say we work for ourselves. We work for a company, even though we're independent contractors. It needs to be able to go with you, but also to grow with you. So when you think about all of the other things that we're passionate about, I mean, once you have that entrepreneurial spirit, it's like you and I, we dream of businesses and we're like texting each other late at night and we're walking, talking, and launching new businesses. Again, we've got our one network marketing company, but all the other things that we're doing. So, you know, again, it's like an absolute essential thing. But again, all paths lead back to filling that funnel too.
Yeah. So powerful. How big has faith been in all of this for you?
Man, you know me. It is everything. And I will say, even when I started my business, I would pray, Lord, send me the leaders who are supposed to be blessed by this. You know my story. Shy young kindergarten teacher, no network, 19 cents in a bank account, and all of my friends were young and broke like me. There is nothing about my past, about my story, my network, who I was, that would say she should have been successful. All of it, I can point back to the Lord and say, every good and perfect gift comes from the Father above. That's just it. And I'll put on sometimes, you know, just like worship music. And as I'm writing, I'm just like writing trainings. That's how my first book was written. It was a 12-week series for my team. And I remember literally the Lord saying, this is a book. I was like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to do with that. I call the people who did my website. I go, how do you write a book?
I love you.
And he's like, well, first you start. I was like, I just think I need a spell checker and maybe a cover. And I just went Facebook Live and I was like, hey, I wrote a book, everybody. You know, it was a bestseller. And there I was, you know, that was scrappy like back in the day. But it has been like, I don't even know that there's a word that can even materialize like the importance of, it's like the circle maker says, like praying like it depends on God, and then we work like it depends on us. Like he's the greatest partner in everything we do. Yeah, you inspire me so much. You're so humble. You're like, I mean, the profession we're talking about, there's not a lot of people are not humble. They're like, all they talk about is the money they make, and they just get their Gucci belts, and they just think they're a god. It's weird. It's very weird.
It's gross. Yeah. And
it's like micro celebrityism, and it's just bizarre.
Yeah. And you fascinate me though with your humility. Like it's truly inspiring because you're always about giving back. And it's like, it encourages me. Like, not only do you give back with your tithes to the church, but other things you guys contribute to, but you give back to, you know, you sow into people so much. Like, you are such a giver.
Thank you.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Was there ever a time though when Sarah Rockin' Robbins starts to shoot? Did you ever like, I am kind of a big deal. Like, did you ever have those moments where you had to like refine your heart or like be more humble? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's so interesting because people always say to me, did you imagine? I'm like, first of all, I never imagined, but I will tell you, it's like something that I'm always, Lord, like search my heart, because the biggest thing is like, I don't just think about what does the world think about me. Like, I think like these two little babies, my two little boys, 8 and 3. And like, I'm like, listen, when you are public, like you and I, and we're on social media, people take their jabs. They sure do, and it's really difficult because I sit there and I'm like, these little babies, like they're going to be the ones to read and to see. And it's like, I'm always asking myself that question of like, what type of legacy am I leaving? So yes, there's been moments where the Lord has checked me and was like, or even times where like, I know this sounds funny because it's almost kind of opposite where I was like, I remember a hard time I was having in leadership and I was like, I didn't ask for this.
Mm-hmm.
And I cried on the floor and I cried puddles on that leather couch that they just don't sop up. They just sit there.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was so much easier teaching. And the Lord was like, really? And so then he checked me and he was like, this actually isn't about you. This is about the people that I'm going to bless through you. And I was like, had to dust it off and go, okay, it's not about me, And so I will never forget that moment, by the way. And I was like, okay, it's like, it's pick your heart, right? No matter what, we're going to be in these pressure seasons of life, whether at home, in business, whatever the case may be. And we can either camp in the place of complacency. I think about this story, and I'll just share real quick, but it was like Moses and the Israelites all the way from Exodus through Numbers, right? And if we know that story, we know that there were so many things. They were on their way to the promised land. It was like, this was the path, and all this pressure starts coming in, and they just wanted to keep going back. Like something hard would happen, they want to go back. Wanted to go back to what was. It wasn't better. It was actually harder. But they had to keep forging ahead. But every time it was like, they'd almost forget. It was like, okay, I need food. Then there's manna from heaven. Then it's like, oh, the Egyptian army, they're coming after me. God parts the Red Sea and eradicates the enemy before their very eyes. Like the bitter water made sweet, all of these things. And again, it's like, but it was so much easier. It was so much better. It wasn't better. You know what it was? It was familiar. So we camp in the place of complacency, which eventually leads to decline. And you and I talked about this the other day. Pressure promotes you. I think about like even the time in teaching where if I wasn't facing the loss of my job, I would have never said yes to network marketing. Never. So it's like that has to be the thing that really fuels us, and pushes us to the next thing.
Yeah. And it's how, it's like you just did a reframe and it's how you look at it as well.
Yeah.
Because it's like, a lot of people listening to this right now, maybe their business is down.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not as it used to be. And it's like, you keep looking back going, should I just quit? Whatever. Yeah. But this is truly the time where you lean in and you're like, this is what's going to cause me from being good to great.
Yeah.
Because maybe I do need to refine my skills. Maybe I do need to build my personal brand. Maybe I do need a strategy up. Maybe I do need to meet some new people. Maybe I've been camping out way too comfortable for far too long. And like every single time I've had pressure, it has made me grow and become so much better of a woman. Yeah. Like truly so much better. Yeah. Whether it's pressure in business, relational, whatever. And so that reframe is so encouraging.
Yes.
But it's what you do with that.
It's what you do with it. Like, and listen, leaders play the long game. They lead with legacy in mind. So it's like when things get hard, I'm like, that's just a sign where it's like, okay, I gotta level up. I got to skill up a little bit more. Like, got to lean back into this thing, right? And I always say, like I've said this to a lot of women that I coach, sometimes we're always like looking for the new opportunity. We don't need a new opportunity. We need a new commitment to the opportunity we had,
Well, yeah, that's for business and relationship
everything.
Too. People just want to run.
Yeah. They want to run when it's hard. Go back to the thing, which wasn't necessarily better. When all along, the best plan, the promise ahead It's so good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And, since we talk all the time and if we're talking just about the profession, it's like there is a lot of people right now that are not playing at 100%.
Yeah.
That, again, they built when there was hyper growth. There was a good amount of companies that had, let's just call it like it is, hyper growth. And it's like, you did do work. I'm not saying someone didn't do work, but it's not like you're not a real network marketer unless you build for a sustained amount of time.
Yes.
At least that's how I
agree.
I look at it. When you build in hyper growth, and you were put in a good spot, that could be a little luck, a little hashtag blessing. Let's just be real. And, something we've always talked about, how there's like a lack of real trainers in the profession.
Oh, girl.
And, I am one that I move with conviction.
Yeah.
So if I haven't done it, built it, felt it, if I'm not 100 on it, I just cannot do it.
Yeah.
I can't teach it. I can't fake the funk.
Yeah.
And I know you're the same.
Yeah. And something has to listen. We're the only industry, network marketing, that leads with scarcity. When you think about this, it's like if your kid was in baseball, you'd want to find the best pro player and say, if I had the resources, I'm going to invest for him to teach my son.
That's right.
We are the only profession, and it's old school. It's like when you and I started, be careful who you put in front of your teams. Why? How long have you been doing your business?
15 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I look and I'm like, I have not, from all the people I've coached, and y'all can go Google search this, I have not recruited one leader from another company to build what I have. So it's scarcity. And I'm like, who made up that rule? So we're listening to people who aren't actually in the trenches doing it, teaching us how. We're a female-dominated industry. And I'm like, first of all, where are the female voices?
Right.
Where are the women who actually did it, who are willing to teach people how? To say, you know what, it's not just about my business. A healthy profession is healthy for all of us.
Yeah.
Like, I want all of these women to win, because at the end of the day, the wisdom that God gave you, that God gave me, he didn't just like, poof, this is just for your team.
Yeah.
No, this is for everybody.
Yeah, it's to give it. It's to give it away.
Freely.
And they used to say to me, they're like, you're like the new school networker. Like you make it look cool to do network marketing.
Yeah.
Because it's so cringe out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wore that with pride. I'm like, well, thank you. But I want to redefine the industry, and every single type of business has changes, turns, and I believe we're in that right now.
Yeah.
I really do. And at any economy, listen, first of all, it's God's economy.
Yeah.
And
Amen.
The person that gets their mind right wins.
Yep. That's it.
Straight up wins.
Yes.
But if you choose to focus on the people that talk about lack, if they complain, if it's just this downward spiral, that's what you're going to get. Yeah. And so, Sarah and I were like walking and talking, and I'm like, if not us, then who?
Yeah.
And
Whoa.
I think of so many people, and I get so many DMs. I've done some Zooms where people are like, what do I do? Do I become a life coach now? Or, I don't really know what to do. Do I go get a job? And it's like, no, you brush up your skills and you build a brand.
Yes.
And you monetize.
Yes.
And you build strategy.
Yes.
And you build with intelligence.
Yes.
And I know far too much, and so do you, not to help those that want to be helped.
That's right. I mean, when you see it, it almost just breaks your heart, because you're like, what do you need to do? Build your personal brand. What do you need to do? Refine your systems. What do you need to do? Play the long game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it like, we've been talking about this for so long. It just grieves you, because it's like, you see it and you're like, I know I have the answer for it. And you're watching so many people just get stuck.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And so what Sarah and I are going to do, this is like so small, so private.
Yeah.
For those women.
For those women.
A small group we really want to pour into you and, have you come out to SoCal and just come see our life out here.
Yes.
But more importantly, I want to teach you personal branding,
Yes.
like how to really change the game quick.
Yeah.
You want to teach strategy, systems, like real systems.
Yes.
And help you monetize and show you things you can do that won't compromise your current business, but it'll only add on to it.
That's it. And build some serious momentum. And also too, for those who are needing renewal in their business, I mean, it is going to be so powerful because here's the thing, both of us speak with the utmost experience of having built two of the most iconic teams and two of the most iconic companies in the industry worldwide, but two of the most powerful personal brands that both of us have been able to monetize. And I just think I'm like, who else has done it, but who else is teaching it or willing to teach it to say, time out, come out, let's spend a weekend together. Let's help you level up your business and let's help you to actually build out your personal brand so you can actually profit.
Yeah.
And again, it feeds leads into your business. So why not?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So when there's a problem, Sarah and I are like the solution people. We're like, okay, well, let's build a bridge and get over it.
That's
and
it.
So we're going to have this special, very private. I mean, I don't even know like how many, like a small group of people.
Small. They got to be able to like sit around our dinner tables.
Yeah. We were going to have dinner with you. We're going to break bread with you and just have fun.
Yeah.
And
Emily and I, we share the same chef. So we're going to have a little fun dinner. We're going to do some masterminding. Start with really building out the topic of personal brand, but also business and systems. But what I'm so excited for too is for these women to get the chance to network and learn from one another and say what's working for you, like bringing people together of all different companies, and saying what's working, but then to be able to hot seat and to literally have them leave with a plan for their business to go next level. Like this is going to be next level, the most exclusive but also elite experience in the industry. You and I have looked for so long to say, we want this. And everywhere we go, it's like masterminds that aren't catering to one specific industry.
Right. Or massive events that you have person after person after person just trying to inspire you. But this is for the person that's like, I specifically need to work on my business, my leadership, my brand. I need fresh ideas. I need some fresh zeal. I need to be in proximity. I want to win. Like that's what this is for. And I promise you it's not out there.
Yeah.
We
would have found it and been in it.
Even, I started doing over 7 figures, annually. I mean, well over 9 figures in sales by the time I was 26. And I remember seeing and going into these rooms where there would be these other masterminds, these network marketing things. And I'm like, this ain't it. Yeah. Like what I did to actually build this, you are not teaching that. Like you're not, you're telling people to recruit 1,000 people in a short time frame. That's
nobody's actually doing that.
That's your message. That ain't it. That's not sustainable. That ain't it. And so if you are interested in this type of thing, DM me or Sarah and let us know and grab your spot. So I'm excited to do this.
It's going to be next level. And truly, I mean, imagine sitting around the table together, around the fire pit together, brainstorming together, building out your brand together, your business, and just leaving with a plan. This weekend will be the most important thing you do for your life, for your leadership, for your legacy. And you and I and that is the thing I love about our heart. Our heart is so pure to say we want every single person who comes to win.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's something about small so you can work with people and so I think a lot of people, they go to massive events. And again, there's no way you can get that one-on-one experience. Yeah. Or then you go try to invest in maybe this mastermind or that or whatever. And I'm like, that doesn't pertain to what you're actually trying to grow.
Yeah.
You know, so this is so specific. So
Yes.
DM us. We're going to continue talking here, but I was like, we might as well just
We're going to
share.
have so much fun, by the way.
I know.
This is going to be a blast and a half. Whoever comes, they're going to laugh till they cry and they're just going to have a blast.
This is going to be it's going to be the glam fun factor. You can count on some sparkles
for sure.
And all that good
For
stuff.
sure.
Oh my word.
It's going to be awesome.
So, okay. I wanted to continue on. There's so much to extract out of you. So you're a mom.
Yes.
And I will tell you, and I've told you this countless times, that you make me excited to be a mom. And like, I hope you take that the right way.
Oh, I do.
But like how you live and build your life is so beautiful, Sarah. Cause it's like, you're always God first.
Yes.
And I've known you long enough.
Yeah.
Like it's no matter what.
Yeah.
And you have built businesses, but you have this beautiful home life with these boys, but you still work and live out your purpose. Like so many women ask me, you know, and I'm like, I don't have kids, so I can only like tell you what my friend Sarah does or what I see. Like what advice, because a lot of women that listen to this, they want to be the best moms, but they also want to build stuff. What advice would you give them?
You don't have to choose. I look today, my mom was entrepreneurial. She did every business under the sun, from direct sales to real estate to even an at-home daycare, to be home with us, but also to put her hand to something. And it set the best examples for my sisters and I. There's 3 of us. And now all 3 of us are entrepreneurs, building our business, doing the same thing at home from our smartphones with our babies. Like, it's the coolest thing. And first and foremost, I will say you don't have to choose between the two. I'm actually really proud of what my boys get to see every day. If you ask them what I do, they have no idea, but they just say, my mom helps a lot of people. That's all they say. Like, it's so fun. I think the biggest thing for me is like, I've never sacrificed my why in pursuit of it. I'm very well aware when enough is enough. And I'm like, I will not sacrifice in order to scale, meaning like there's a certain limit to everything. Like 3:30, you know, the times that you've texted and I text you back super late and you're like, you'll tell Jake, you're like, oh, she's putting the kids to bed, you know, and it's like 3:30, like those little feet hit the door. And that's where I am. Like, I'm so intentional and so focused, but it's amazing. Like, you know, in that compressed time. Now I will also say too, you know, I've shared this with you. I'm not afraid to admit that, gosh, I need help and I get help, you know? Before I had kids, it was like, I'm going to have somebody come clean my house so I have time to actually do this business, you know? Now I have somebody in home who will come and help me with the little one. He's 3. But it's so cool because I can actually like walk out of the room, give 8,000 kisses, spend the time at lunch, like as much time as I want in between. And I think the big thing, the key thing is just keeping that why in the center of everything that I do. When I work with women, and I know when you work with women, we always ask them, what is your why? Why are you actually doing this? It is always tied to a person. It's their family, right? But the hard part is, and again, we see this in our industry when it's like, lock yourself in a closet and call 3,000 people and your kids are crying outside of the door. I'm like, yeah, no, there's got to be a better way. You know, I think that's why I am so passionate about, you know, the network marketing business, because women can do it from home and really design a professional life that fits around the rest of life.
Yeah, that's so good. And something like I've really witnessed with you, you do have those hours of operation.
Yes.
And so many people, like I remember when the pandemic hit and I was like doing like NBC and ABC and they're like, tell us how to work from home, you know, because I've been working from home since I was 23. And I'm like, you have to set hours of operation, but you like really do.
Oh, I really do. It's 9 to 3. Like when people are like, when can I get a hold of you or do a meeting? I'm like, this is it. And they're like, what about this day? I'm like, so sorry. Like we can do another day.
You're so good at that.
Yeah.
And I think that's why you get so much done.
Yeah.
Like you work with intelligence.
Yeah.
You're like whipping nays.
Yeah. On purpose.
And I feel like when I've coached people before, they'll use their kid as excuses.
Yes.
And it's like they have no standards of operation. It's like, well, they need me right now. And it's like, they need you all the time. Like you know what I mean? Like, and so you set it up and it's like, it's for me, it's like I told my husband, Jake, I said, the way Sarah and Phil do it, like that's what I want to do. I'm like, because it's like, that's truly designing your life.
Yeah. And listen, when there are times where I'm like, things have been busy and maybe we're doing a launch or something and things are crazy, I'm so aware to be like, we just need a family weekend. Let's go somewhere. And like, let's have that intentional time. And that's all we're doing. I come back to 80,000 messages, phone calls, etc. But it's like, those things wait. Nothing in my business is an emergency. Nothing.
You know, that's something else you're really good at. So you're really fun.
Thanks. So are you. That's why we like each other.
You're good. You're so good for me.
I know you are for me too. We are fun, aren't we?
But no, like, I mean, your husband Phil is so good for me.
He's so funny. You guys will listen. If you saw Emily and Phil together, you would cry laughing.
Because you guys are like the fun factor.
Yeah.
Like
you guys are too.
But it's like, but the thing that I am learning and working on, and I feel like you are so good at this. So there's always going to be demand.
Yeah.
Answer this, requests, things. But you like really live your life.
Yeah.
No, you really live your life.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes I don't want to use the word envy, but I'm like working on that.
Yeah.
You know, and you know that about me because I'm so serious. And I just try to like, ooh. But like, you're like, no, I'm going here today. This is a rest day. I'm going to go to the spa. I'm going to maybe have a cocktail or two by the pool. I'm going to read, maybe just enjoy, and it's like, you're good. And then you come back on Monday and you're just like, ready to go. And has it always been that way for you? Or did you have to learn that? And did you have to discipline that? Because for me, Sarah, what I'm working on is like, sometimes I'm like trying to be in the moment, but then I'm like, thinking about like, I need to get home and do these things, like being somebody who's like a go-getter, right?
I think it's like we make way for what is important to us always. And I don't know that I've always been this way, but I will say this. It's like the more life you experience, the more hardship, the more hard things. You realize what is truly important. Health is one of those things. So I'm like, for me, if I'm like getting stressed out, I will go to a hotel alone and just say, I just need a day to just regroup, or go to a spa and do like a little spa day, whether it's myself or with my friends. I go on date nights with Phil and I, and that has been something. We had a Robbins Rock date night hashtag for gosh knows how many years.
You guys are so cute. You can follow that hashtag on
and see all the memories,
but
all the memes.
I mean, all the memes. It's like no matter what, you guys are going on your date night.
We always are. And then I'll take the kids on individual dates. So Gabriel's so cute. He'll be like, let's go to a fancy hotel in Southern California. We are surrounded by them. And he's like, let's go get a Shirley Temple. And I'm like, you know what? I'm raising somebody's husband. Like, why not? And it's like, we'll get on these little date nights. I'm like, you dress up, I'll dress up, and we go. And it's like, but that is really what life is about. This is what we work hard for. Yeah. It's like, that's it. And at the end of the day, everything else fades away. Like, what do we have? Relationships. Time is the currency of relationship. How do people we know we love them is the quality time we spend with them. Amen. So it's like, and let me just say, when you have kids, and you're going to be the best mom, by the way, they know. It's like they literally, it's like, hey mom, look, and their eyes are locked with you. Like that phone just goes down, because it's like, did you see that wheelie? Did you see that thing? And it's like every little one of those moments, it's building up into their childhood. Like, this is what we say, like our experiences as like, well, this is my childhood. Well, your childhood wasn't just childhood. It was a series of memories and moments, right? And so in those moments where it's like, hey mom, look, it's like, okay, yesterday there was all the crazy going on and Phil was racing. He races and he loves racing. And I was like,
what does he race?
Porsche, and he does some of all the other stuff. Like he's great at it. He does it competitively, and so he was doing a track day the other day. And I was like to the kids, you know what, instead of cooking and just not being present, we sat outside. They were on their bikes, ordered DoorDash, probably like all the seed oil foods that they're not used to eating, but they loved it. We had a picnic on the porch, and it's like, but those are the moments. And before you blink, like, I'm like, I have an 8-year-old. He's soon to be a preteen. Like, this is the time that matters most. It does.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're so, again, I feel like it's like, I know you, so I know when you're working, because it's like,
yep.
And then she's like, poof, poof, she's gone.
Yeah.
She's at their football game or
Yeah.
something, you know, like, but that's such a discipline
Yeah.
and a mindset that you're
Yes.
like, you know, your priorities.
Yeah.
So you're like, this can wait, whatever.
Yeah.
And to that point, I want to talk for a minute about friendship
Yes.
and all the things. Because
Yes.
it's like women and business and friends. And it can be like, who's my friend? And
Yeah.
I know I've really dealt with that. That's
Yeah.
why it's like, I feel like our relationship is so pure and I can just be myself with you. And
Yeah.
like, I mean, you see like, I can just roll
Yeah.
up to your house in my
Yeah.
pajamas.
We see the no makeup side of each other.
Yeah. And it's so beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
And I think a lot of women pray to have these kind of friendships, but I know women in business, they sometimes like put walls up and, you know, what have you learned about friendship and like, how have you navigated that?
Yeah. Praying for friendship. That's so important. Like I was in a season, I literally like was praying that the Lord would send me friends that were doing business, that were running at my pace. And literally it was so cool how we reconnected on that boat. And I'm like, what in the world? And how good God is, because he just accelerates things and he cements you, you know, together. And it's like, okay, this is somebody that I can just do life with. And I think my greatest encouragement for that is like we pray for anything else, like, you know, for the people listening, they're single, they're praying for their future spouse. But why not pray for a best friend as well? Because it is the greatest gift. Like you and I know, like when we leave each other voice memos that are like podcasts, 10 minutes long back and forth, but we love them.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that. It's such a gift because there are certain things like you're going to share with your spouse. There's certain things you're going to share with your best girlfriend, you know, that your spouse is like, please reach out to your girlfriend.
Yeah.
Because that's like a her conversation.
Yeah. Jake's like, you need a Sarah day.
Yeah.
I'm like, until he's like, I don't know how to deal with it, you know?
But it's just like, but pray for that thing.
Yeah.
But then also too, it's just like you would pursue a relationship, you have to pursue that thing. It's like, if you want to have a friend, you have to be a friend, you know, you have to show up. And I was talking to both of our mentors the other day, Kathy Greer, and we were talking about, you know, the importance of like friendship. And she's like, how do you know that a friendship's a friendship? It's reciprocal. They're going to call you and be like, how are you? And hey, I saw that thing you did and congratulations. And like, it's like, how are your kids? And like the conversation goes two ways and it's intentional. But again, you have to be willing to show up. And it's the hard times and the good things, just like marriage, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it is one of the greatest gifts in life is a good friend. So thank you for being that for me. I love you.
Samesies, and I love you. And it's like, when you said that, I just imagined like playing tennis and the balls going back and forth.
Yeah.
And I think like we're just being as real can get.
Yeah.
I think in the business space and the podcast space, the whole space, it's like what you have to learn how to do. And I think because I'm more of my mindset's different with business, so maybe I can take this better. But I think some women I've talked to, they're like, but I thought that we were friends and this and that. And I'm like, there's different compartments. Like, I'm like, some people, like, they want to do business with you. They want to exchange. They want to, you will come on my show, I come on yours. Yeah. They're not really like looking to actually be your friend. And I know that may sound cold, but it's just the reality.
Yeah. And it's okay. Just as long as you recognize that and you have the right expectation of that as well. That's it.
It's the expectation.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Cause it is like, it's like an interesting space. And it's like, you know, again, I just think if you approach it with a giver's mentality, like what can I give? And then discernment.
Yes.
Something I feel like you are so good at is discernment.
Yeah. Like
you're very, and I know it's because you're connected to God, and it's like, you just know, is this right? You seem to be able to make decisions much faster because of your discernment.
Yeah.
Would you say that's because you walk with the Lord? Do you think that you're able to make better decisions?
For sure. And it's also taking the time to listen to, you know, I think we can get so caught up in, it's like Jesus is like Santa. It's like, let me tell him all the things I need. It's like, wait a minute, hold on. Like, are you willing to listen? So even though, yes, sometimes it's like I'm able to make quicker decisions because I'm really firm in, okay, this is what I've heard. Sometimes it causes me to make slower decisions too, because I'm like, Lord, I just want to hear from you, because listen, you and I both, we've made expensive mistakes. We've made hard mistakes. And it's like, those are the moments though. They shape you, they mold you into the person that God has designed you to be. So now I'm in a place of like, Lord, I really want to hear you. I really want to do the right thing here. Like, what are you saying about this? What is it that you want me to do? What is it that you want me to know? And just constantly listening, knowing that I'm not always going to get it perfect.
Right.
But man, when you feel that pause, you just pause and go, okay.
Yeah.
There's something that I'm needing to just hear.
Yeah. And you are living this out. I remember just the other day, it's like you're needing more clarity on something.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you're not just making decisions like that based on emotion if you're not sure about something yet. Yeah. What does your walk look like with the Lord? Like, do you pray at night? Do you pray? I feel like you have like this prophetic gift. Like you really do.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I could cry.
Yeah.
And was there ever a time in your life where you're like, I want to go deeper?
Yeah.
Like, talk to me about that.
Man. So first of all, I will say, what does the day to day look like? It's an all day occurrence, but I will say there's so much that I learned really even over the past few years and even over the past like decade that I'm so thankful that I can actually walk out with my children, things that I'm like, man, I'm so glad that I know this now. So every single day, first and foremost, I don't start my own day until my kids are off and they're doing their thing. But every morning, declaring over them Psalm 91. And I kind of paraphrase it. So when they go out the door, first of all, we pray. And my kids, if we do not, they will say like, Mom, you have to pray for me before I leave. Even the 3-year-old. So we always pray together. And I declare Psalm 91 over them. I say, no sickness, no calamity will come near you. With a long life, he will satisfy you and show you his salvation. So they can repeat that to you. If you had them here right now, I could pause in each little thing and they would repeat it back to you, and just declaring that over them, just starting their day. And then for me, I'm like, okay, now it's my time with the Lord. So I'm sitting with my devotion, sitting with my Bible, and not only am I speaking to the Lord, but I'm also taking time to just listen and hear. And the biggest thing is like when things come up, that always is a signal to me to like put on worship music, stop. Like, don't go to the phone. Don't, start, my sister talked about this the other day and it was so good. She's like, how many times do we just like go to Instagram for inspiration? Wonder if I'll find a quote here or prophetic word here or whatever the case may be. It's like everything you need is right in that book. That's it. So I was like, okay, it's like, so anchoring back into that. And then of course it's just worship. For us, it's, making sure that our kids grow up going to church because they understand all of the spiritual principles of tithing, sowing, worship, etc. So we've just really like integrated it into our lives. Mm-hmm. And so of course it's like where you spend your time, like that's how you show up. It's just part of who we are. It's part of our DNA. And by the way, like for you, I want to say this. I am so proud of you because I watched, now I'm not going to try to cry. We can't cry on camera here. But I've watched your walk with the Lord.
Thank you.
And it's like somebody pressed, and I've told you this a few times because I've seen it, the fast forward button. And I always see like the old school VCR, like somebody's pressing a fast forward button. But man, it was like that day that you just decided to choose Jesus, like you chose him. It was like everything in your life changed. You're like
100%.
I can't, I feel it now, but it's like, I can't do the same things. I can't do the same relationships. I can't be in the same places with the same people. Yeah. And literally it's like you were all in. Yeah. But you know what's so cool? It's like I grew up in church and I'm like, I have decades of like being in church and hearing all these things. What God did in your life in 1 year is like somebody who spends decades in the church. So like, I feel like that's an encouragement for somebody listening today that maybe they're just sitting and going like, man, like I'm going to have to take all this time knowing this stuff, or, oh, I don't know Psalm 91, or I don't know like even where to start with the Bible. Yeah. Like, I feel like that part about you and your testimony and your story is encouraging to so many people that it's like, you just show up ready.
Yeah.
And it's like, I love Psalm 37:4. God will grant the desires of your heart. And I've watched that. You walk that out. Jake walked that out. Like, your passion for the Lord, this is not like fluff.
Yeah.
You know, like you guys have gone so deep, so fast in knowing him and hearing him. And it has been such a joy just as your friend to watch.
Thank you.
And now you're going to bring someday these little babies into the world, and they're going to know the truth too. And I think about, like, as I talk to my kids, Gabriel said something, and to maybe somebody listening would be small, but he was like, Mom, I'm not really good at math. And I was like, let's talk about the power of our words.
Yeah.
And what we're speaking over our life. You are so smart. You know, we started to talk about like all of those things, and I'm like, man, these are the things that I wish I knew.
Yeah.
You know, that I've only learned over this last little blip of time, you know, but now we're able to take and pass on. So what a better time for somebody who's hearing this to just say, like, man, you know, knowing Jesus, walking with Jesus, this is part of your legacy, not just for you, but for the ones that you love and the ones that you lead.
Amen. So beautiful. I'm over here a mess.
I know.
I remember, I think it was on my wedding day that you said something of like, you think it's all lost, but God's going to supersede or I don't know. You spoke that over me.
That he will restore the years that the locusts have eaten. So when you think about, it's like God not only restores, but he redeems. He redeems lost time. I love Isaiah 61:7. It says, the Lord will restore double your loss, even your joy. And I remember that, speaking that over you as well. And he does. And he almost takes like all of the pains of the past, all of the things. And it's like when we choose, and the craziest thing is he's just asking for us obedience. And it's a choice. And that's it. Like, life with the Lord, life with God is so much greater than anything we could ever do on our own.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I never understood that before. Like, I loved like the brand fear of God, but I didn't know what it meant. I was like, I want a hoodie, but I don't really, like, what do you mean? You're scared of God? You know? And sometimes if I ever write anything on social, people are like, you know, there is so many, like, they're like, what do you mean fear the Lord?
Yeah.
You know? And it's having that reverence and walking in that obedience. And it's like, you think you're going to lose, but you actually have everything to gain and then some, and then abundantly beyond you can imagine in your expectations. Like, it's just like this overflowing pot.
It's overflow. The Lord's favor is just like, it is so beautiful walking with the Lord. Like, again, it goes back to that verse, every good and perfect gift comes from the Father above. I think about like every resource, every opportunity, like the times where I'm like, okay, God, we have a need here. He has shown up every single time. It's like, tell us a time where he's not shown up. He shows up every single time. And it is the most beautiful thing. I can't imagine actually doing life any other way. Like, you know, and it's, again, we've talked about this where it's like, people are like, I'm anxious about this, anxious about that. Like, the word says, be anxious for nothing. When something comes my way, I'm like, sometimes people probably think my head is in the sand because I'm not afraid at all. I sit and I go, my head's not in the sand. My head's in the word. Like, my feet are firmly planted. Yeah. And so I look and I'm like, I'm not afraid. When man moves the cheese, God shows up with a charcuterie board. I'm good.
You know, I love those charcuterie boards. Oh, give me extra almonds.
Why does everybody in Southern California have charcuterie boards? It's great, though.
Yeah,
it is
I don't
great.
know. Just make sure. Yeah.
Listen, back in network marketing days, we used to have those nasty, like, you know, nasty Ritz with the little, like spray cheese. Yeah. Yeah. Now we get good boards here. Yeah. We've leveled up in life.
So beautiful. I've leveled up in life with you.
I've leveled up in life with you. I'm so
and this
proud
is
of
just
you.
the start. I'm so proud of you.
Thank
And I am, talk to me for a minute about the book coming out.
I'm so excited about this. It's a God dream for sure. And it is something that is like a fire in my heart that I know I'm called to do. I had agents reach out, as you know, and they're like, write the different book, like write the big book, the leadership book that's going to get you on all the stages. And I have such a heart to passionately pursue, to redeem, to change our industry, the network marketing industry. And I said, if I do not write this book, it'll be called The Multiply Method. I said, I will literally die with a dream inside of me. I now have all of these years of experience building like one of the fastest growing sales team in 5 years, getting to $1 billion in sales. And I know I have systems that will change people's life and change their business. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to sit down and write the book from a selling system to recruiting to leadership. You name it, we're going to touch on it. It's step-by-step, simple systems.
So good.
That helps businesses turn into strong, profitable, powerful brands. And I'm so excited for it. I know that it's going to be a game changer in our industry. When I look and I'm like, where's the book? It has yet to be written. So I'm like, okay, Lord, like here I am, choose me.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited to get in the hands of just so many people. And I truly do hope that it blesses their business and therefore their lives.
Absolutely.
So thanks for asking.
Oh my gosh. And we're thinking, when is it coming?
Next year.
Yeah.
It's written. So now we're going through all the phases and all the things.
Yeah. So good. So multiply method. Follow. What's your Instagram?
Sarah Robbins 1. So Sarah with an H, the right way. Robbins with 2 B's and the number 1. Because the other Sarah Robbins was already taken.
Okay, but you're number 1, girl.
Number 1.
And you have a podcast coming.
Yes. And you're going to be my guest.
Oh, come on.
So come on.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about how to multiply your network marketing business, interviewing, and get this. It's going to be so awesome. Faith-based. Top leaders in network marketing as like a tell-all. Yeah. Like we're telling the truth.
We're
reals.
Truth.
It is the real.
Yeah, there's a lot of pretenders out there.
That's it. Like the people who are actually doing it, who are willing to share what they're doing, their success principles, but also spirituality as well. Yeah. It is going to be so powerful. So thanks for getting on your girl and saying, you got to do this. So I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's going to be an explosive year. I feel like you're stepping into that next level of obedience. Yes. Like, it's like if you keep thinking about it, like, you're like, okay, it's not even I should do this. It's I must do this. I'm the person to do it. And that's what you're walking out. And for anybody listening right now, if you feel that way in your heart about anything, like you think about it all the time, like that your next level is there. It's like walk into that, even though it's scary, even though you might not have all the answers, you don't know how to, put the cover on the book or write the book or any of the, it's like you just walk into that. And so even if you're feeling that way and you want to join Sarah and I and SoCal,
this is going to be so much fun. If they've liked this, they're going to love that.
Oh, well,
it's going to be
us
fire.
In private. We're going to be on. No, I'm just kidding.
It's going to be fire. And I mean, that is our heart. You and I have talked about this for a long time. We both have such a heart for the industry because we grew up in it and it changed our life.
Oh gosh.
And it led us to all of this, the opportunities that God gave us. And I just know when this unlocks, like we talk about the word multiplication, it is going to multiply leaders who will multiply leaders. And it is going to be the most powerful weekend that people will be able to look back. It's going to be pivotal. And they're going to say, this was the thing that catapulted me. So I know we can say that with all confidence and sincerity.
Straight up.
It's going to be game changer.
Yeah.
Got to be there.
Absolutely. So, well, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I love you so much.
I love you too.
And thank you for blessing me by your friendship, your example. You pour into me so much. And
likewise,
you're also so much fun and so beautiful. Everything about you is so beautiful. Everything you touch is beautiful.
Thank you.
And I admire you as a woman, as a friend, as a wife, as a mother, as a businesswoman. And I just am so blessed by you. So
thank you. And I'm blessed by you.
Thank you.
Love you.
Love you.